Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of our new podcast, The Wiscard of Oz, Adventures in School Psychology. We wanted to take a little time at the beginning of the episode to introduce ourselves and tell you why we wanted to start this podcast. So, for starters, my name is Marcus Lombardo. I am going into my second year of the school psychology program here at SUNY Oswego. My pronouns are he, him. I am from Tully, New York originally, which is a small town about 20 minutes south of Syracuse. And I did my undergrad at Nazareth College, which is in Pittsford, which is right outside of Rochester, New York. And my co-host is Sophia, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophia Cuiffo. I'm also going into my second year in the school psychology program here at Oswego. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm from Port Jefferson Station, Long Island, which is quite a little bit from here. It's a very small town. And I did my undergrad here. I did part of it here at Oswego. I did part of it at a community college back at home.
Is it a challenge to live so far away from the college?
Yeah. At first it wasn't so hard because it felt very similar to doing my undergrad here, but as time goes on and the requirements get a little more in depth, I'm finding it harder to be from 6 to 8 hours away.
Yeah, and I'm only about an hour away, so it's much easier for me to hop home whenever I want. All right, so Sophia, why did you want to be a school psychologist in the first place?
So, I didn't actually know what school psychology was until I was applying for the program. And originally it was just because I wanted to work in a school setting, but I just knew I didn't want to teach. I had no desire to be a teacher, but I wanted a way to kind of work with kids and get to help them in a school setting because it felt the most controlled. And I was looking to do something in like what I guess would be considered the mental health field, even though this kind of strays away from that. And I had my own school psychologist who I only worked with once in high school, but she was just so kind and so great to work with that it's just kind of something that I want to watch myself bring to other kids.
That's great. For me, I was at Nazareth and I was a psychology major, and I was looking towards the end of my career there when I was going into my last year for careers that would fit me in the field of psychology. And for the most part, a lot of the good careers that you can get into with a bachelor's in psychology require a master's. So I was looking at all the different master's programs, and one of the ones that stuck out to me was school psychology with the help of a couple of my professors there because of it was a way to help students, which I've always wanted to do, and to use kind of a more data-focused approach to do that as effectively as possible. So I took a shadowing internship with a school psychologist at the School Without Walls in Rochester, and that really showed me kind of what the profession can look like, at least from a city school perspective, because it can vary a lot depending on the district and what setting you're in. And from there, I started applying to grad schools in school psychology, and I became convinced through that internship that it was a good path for me because it combined a lot of those different areas that I was passionate about. So we just want to give you a little overview of the program here at SUNY Oswego if you're not aware of what the requirements are and what it can look like. So it's a master's program, but there's also a certificate of advanced study that you can earn as a result of the program. So the master's program is 3 years long, and you can also get the CAS through a few different options. The most popular option is to take a 2-course sequence. So you take 2 additional courses outside of your required coursework that are related in some way. So a lot of people do play therapy or trauma studies, but that can be anything you choose, really, as long as there's classes that match that interest and that fit into your schedule. But if you don't want to do that, you can also go the research route. So you can contribute to research that a professor is doing and work with them, or you can start your own research study and really design it yourself and run it, which is what I hope to do in the coming months and year. But basically, you would have to have some writing in research that gets published, whether that's with a professor's research or your own research.
That's not quite the route I'm going to be taking. I think I'm going to shift more towards the class, the coursework. That's still a work in progress, though.
What is your concentration?
Originally, I was planning on doing special education, but it's kind of been bumpy in terms of getting those classes into my coursework, because they tend to run at the same time as our classes, and it's kind of, I don't want to say frowned upon. It's not advised to take more classes than what's in the original course load. It's just so much work in the first place that they try not to have you overload yourself, because it can get pretty overwhelming pretty quick. So now I'm looking into doing some, they don't necessarily have a name for them. They're just counseling and psych services classes, but they're focused more towards diversity in a couple different ways. One is about gender, race, and class, and the other is about spirituality and counseling. So I'm looking to hopefully take those, but I have to speak to a few people first.
Yeah, that sounds like a great concentration to have for our field. Yeah, but you mentioned scheduling. That is a big problem for a lot of people. Trying to get the courses in, even for like the play therapy people, they've had a lot of challenge to get their courses in their schedule.
Yeah.
But there's ways to work around it. So, talking about the program, Sophia, do you want to take us through the requirements for the 3 years?
Yeah, so this is actually quite a long program compared to other psych and counseling programs, like school counseling or mental health counseling. It's a 3-year long program, and so the first semester is just classes and getting situated, and the second semester you start your counseling practicum, where you're placed in, or you place yourself actually in a school. You get to pick your own site, and you go in 1 day a week, and you have to hit 100 hours within the semester, and you work one-on-one with kids. You work with your supervisor, which could either be a counselor or a psychologist, and just kind of get to know the lay of the land of how schools work, and spend some time really counseling students, because it's not a huge part of the rest of the coursework after the first year. It seems to kind of falter off at that point. But that's definitely a valuable experience that you get to start with in that second semester. And then the second year, you do a full year school psychology practicum. So you go 1 day a week into the schools, and you work with a psychologist, with a school psychologist, and do some testing and some other work with the kids, and just kind of get your feet wet in terms of the actual practice. And then the third year is a full year internship. It's a paid internship year. And you go into the schools 5 days a week, and you kind of get started, basically. It's like kind of a trial run of your first year in the profession. And for the most part, it seems like a lot of our students tend to stay in the Syracuse area, the Central New York area, for those types of placements. Myself and another person in our cohort are both from Long Island, so there's been some consideration there about going home for the third year, the internship year, but we're not really set on that yet.
Yeah, and students have the choice to go wherever they want, really. So some students can go to all over the country, Southwest, if they want. But yeah, for the most part, those internships are paid, so that's a nice perk. And I also like how we get into the schools in the first year of the program.
Yeah.
That's a big benefit of the program.
I think it's definitely important to kind of really just get thrown in and get started. I think it makes a huge difference in the way you look at the coursework. At least for myself, I noticed that it was a lot easier to conceptualize everything that we were talking about when I could actually apply it, the next week when I'm in the schools. To a certain degree, of course, but it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So the course is we usually have to take about 4 courses per semester. So we have a pretty strict schedule in terms of what classes we have to take and when we have to take them. The first year is a little more flexible, but then by the time you get to the second year, it's very set in stone of what you have to take. So far for us, each semester we've taken 4 courses that some focus in counseling for the first semester, but like Sophia said, that kind of fizzles out a little bit after the first year. The main focus of that is the first semester to learn how to counsel, and then the second semester for the practicum. Then, in addition to those 4 courses that you have to take, it is expected that you take some summer classes. So at least one summer is required, but you can also split that out into multiple summers. So I took one class my summer going into my first year. So before I even started on campus, I took an online class. That's what you did too, right, Sophia? Yeah. So we each took a class in the summer before, which is a popular thing to do, but not everyone does it, and you don't have to do that. But right now I'm taking 2 summer courses, and that's the same for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is at least one summer required, and you can space those out. And then do you want to talk about the other courses that we have to take?
Yeah, so for the most part, as far as what we've done so far in our first year, it's there's a huge focus on assessment. There's definitely a big counseling piece to it, I think more so in our first semester, our fall semester rather than the spring. The spring was a lot more assessment focused. But so there's a lot of talk about assessment and intervention strategies, and just kind of getting familiar with both of those things, because there's quite a bit that goes into assessment, even more than I had expected going into it. I thought it was a lot more clean cut, but there's just so much variation in between the measures and in between, what types of measures to be used. It's just so much that you have to get familiar with, and we get a chance to actually give quite a few of them. I think total we gave 8 in the fall, or I gave 8 in the fall.
Yeah.
And then 3 in the spring. So we gave 11 within the first year of starting the program, which is much more than I had expected. And I think that's a great piece of the program that kind of gets overshadowed because the first year is so counseling based. I feel like I was so worried about counseling practicum, and in our first semester we take 510, which is you end up just counseling your classmates, which is very daunting. But because there's such a big push on working on those skills, I think that they don't emphasize how much assessment you'll really be doing.
Yeah, and just for anyone who doesn't know, the assessments we're talking about, for your first semester, you start out giving cognitive assessments, which traditionally were known as intelligence tests, but they're not known as that anymore. They focus on different cognitive processes that happen in your brain that help you to learn, things like working memory and processing speed. So a few examples of those are the Woodcock-Johnson, or the WACE and WISC, which are the Wechsler intelligence scales. And then for our second semester, we learned how to give and then gave achievement tests, which measured achievement in things like reading and writing and math that show how much a student has learned throughout their life. Yeah.
And those tests are closer, just to piggyback off you, they're closer to academic tests. They're not quite the same as a math test that a kid would take in school or an English test, but it's more of the practical application of the cognitive skills that an individual has. And so a lot of times you will give both or give pieces of both just to see what kind of cognitive skills they have and then how they apply those skills as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and we haven't taken the intervention courses yet, but that will come in our second year.
Those are coming soon. I'm very excited to get started. I'm very excited to get started in the fall, personally. But I know we're not done with the summer yet.
Yeah. But all right, so now we're going to talk about a little bit of our personal experience in the program so far, some of the highlights and the lowlights maybe. So, Sophia, what do you think was your favorite moment in the program so far?
I think it's probably shared with quite a few people in our cohort, but maybe not everybody. My favorite part was definitely getting started in the schools. This is kind of a terrible thing to say, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I was expecting. I had picked my placement. I was placed in a 3 through 5 school, so 3rd through 5th graders. And I had originally come into the program planning on working with high schoolers. And so because it was a 1-semester practicum, I was like, let me just make sure I don't want to work with the little kids. And I loved it. There was nothing I can imagine loving more in this world than working with kids that age. They are just so fun and they're so malleable and open to suggestion and just so great. They're just so great. So I think that was definitely my highlight so far. And I'm curious to see if that stays consistent into next year.
Do you think that's the age group you want to work with now for your career?
Probably, but I don't know how feasible it is to get with specifically 3rd through 5th graders. I think I'm going to have to do a K through 5 or a K through 6, something of that sort. But I would love to not go much lower.
Yeah. You never know, though.
I never know. I know at least 2 of our cohort members, I don't know if that's what you call them, but they want to work with the itty-bitties. Yeah. Some preschoolers and K through 2 kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah. It's I worked with them in my undergrad, and they were much different than I thought they would be. They were much I expected them to be barely knowing how to talk and stuff, but they were I enjoyed talking to them, and they were sometimes I forgot they were not my friends that I was talking to.
Yeah. That was something I had actually caught myself doing in our counseling practicum. I had a 5th grader who was just so intelligent, and she was so bright and so awesome. At the end of the day, she was just so awesome, and I was almost her friend, but at the same time, there was that boundary where I was okay, well, I have to bring you back to class now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an important thing that you learn in that first time in the school, whether it was in your undergrad or in the first or in the second semester, that you have to keep that boundary no matter how cool those kids are. You have to make sure that they know that there is some sort of line and they can still confide in you and rely on you in a professional sense, but not as friends.
Yeah, which is even harder when you're working in a high school.
Yeah.
Especially because of how young we both are.
Yeah, I think if either of us went to a high school, we'd be eaten alive.
Yeah. Yeah. We never talked about how old we were.
I'm 21. I will be 22 at the end of June.
I'm also 21, and I'll be 22 in August. So you're a little bit older than me.
A little bit.
And it seems like most of our cohort is pretty young.
Yeah, we have a fairly young cohort, at least compared to the second and third, or I guess the third years and the graduates. I don't know what they're called now. But what do you think about that? Do you think this is a new thing, that people are coming in so young? Because most of us are coming straight from undergrad.
Yeah, it is interesting. I don't know what was different about this year. You'd have to look at long term if it is an actual trend that's happening. I don't know, maybe it was something about coming out of COVID and maybe we're the first, because the years before us, they probably had to wait a little bit maybe before they wanted to go to grad school. Maybe if they wanted to skip that whole online process, and then they waited, and then we were able to come right from undergrad.
Yeah, we got lucky in that sense that everything was pretty much cleared up when we were done, but I had some friends who graduated the year before us, and a lot of them waited. They're going into grad school either this upcoming year, or they're going to wait another year. I think it's kind of a new thing to go straight from undergrad, but that's a whole societal issue that doesn't necessarily concern school psych specifically.
Or maybe it's like the fact that we learned that like nothing's guaranteed, and we didn't want to waste any time taking a break.
Yeah. I mean, definitely for me, that's part of it. I'm also big on working. I love working, and like I really would love to just get started. Yeah. So for me, it was sooner the better, because I did have that. I graduated in December of 2021 instead of. Actually, I graduated a year and a half early, but instead of graduating in the spring, I had a full spring semester off, and I think that was too much for me, and I was like, I gotta go.
Did you work?
I did. I worked. It was just like part-time stuff, because I don't know how to say this nicely. My undergrad degree is not very useful in terms of going into the psych field. Communication doesn't really translate into psych. Like, if I want to do something like social media or HR, stuff like that, I could have gotten a full-time job, but it's just not what I want. Yeah.
I remember being surprised on our first day when we were like talking about our majors and stuff, and you said you were a communications major.
Yeah, so, I mean, I didn't like it. I didn't like it too much, but I went into my college, my college start undecided, and I was at community college, and I just wanted to get out. Like, did not want to be there, and it was like a fast track to being done, and then COVID started, and I was like, okay, well, because I'm stuck now, because I can't do anything hands-on. I can't, I couldn't do lab work. I don't know. There was a lot that I could have done that I couldn't really have done because of how bad 2020 was. Yeah. All right.
So that was your favorite moment.
Yes. So a little off track.
My favorite moment, I don't know if I liked the counseling practicum as much as you did, and that will, we can kind of, one of the things I like about school psychology is that we can, in some cases, we can kind of craft our job to be what we want it to be. So depending on what district we choose to work in, sometimes we won't have to counsel as much, sometimes we can counsel more. So if you like the counseling, go to a district that depends on the school psychologist more from that. When I was in the School Without Walls in Rochester City School District, the school psychologist had one student that he ended up counseling, and he didn't even have that in the beginning, so he had almost no counseling happening at all. So really depends on what district you're in and if you want to do that or not. So anyway, my favorite moment, I think I enjoyed giving the assessments, even though there were a lot of struggles that came with that, and it was very stressful at times. It was, so when we had to give the assessments, we got to give them to volunteers, so we had to find our own people to test, and it was kind of fun to be able to test like my friends and my family members, and the whole experience was just kind of a interesting experience to get to write reports based on how they performed, and also before you give the assessments or after, whenever you want to do it, you give kind of a background interview, and I found myself learning more about my family and friends that I never knew before, and that was a kind of like a bonding experience in some ways, and it was just, I appreciate getting to know them more and getting to think deeply about like their lives and what brought them to this point. I tested both my parents, my brother, who else did I test? A couple of my friends. My current girlfriend wasn't my girlfriend at the time, but so it was a fun experience to get to know them better in that way.
I'm gonna have to agree. Not about the family part though, and I think you might be the only one, at least in our cohort, that enjoyed testing their family. There were quite a few negative experiences there. Myself included. We will never do that again.
My family was all very, like, they just wanted to like help me out in that way. So, but some of them, they had their own challenges, but not the same challenges that you guys had.
I think you just have the family with the right temperament. In the nicest way possible, at least in my case. I tested my sister, who at the time was 15, and had a party to go to the night that I tested her. So, it didn't go very well. She was not was not happy with me. So
a lot of the issues seem to be with younger siblings.
Yeah, so. That's what it seems like. I think you got lucky there.
Yeah. So at times it was challenging, at times it was frustrating, but another thing related to that I really liked was that before we actually gave the test, we practiced on each other.
Yes.
Those were fun times.
Yeah.
And that was very early on, so that was a bonding experience for us, and like getting to spend more time together and learning how to give the test together.
It kind of forced us to be vulnerable with one another in a way.
Yeah.
It happened really quick anyway, just because there's 7 of us in our cohort, which is, we're on the smaller side, but it forces you to become pretty good friends with these people really fast, because you've like every class together. Especially this past semester, we spent all of our time pretty much together when we were on campus, and even now during the summer. We noticed last night in our class that we have a mixed class, so it's some people our year, some people the year above, the third years, people outside of class, and we as rising second years sit in a row directly next to one another, while everybody else is spread out, right in front of class. So it's just funny because you get so comfortable with each other so fast, and I think a huge part of that is having to like say non-words to each other. Like it's just such a humbling experience at the very basis of it. And like trying to do math, we did one, I think maybe it was the WJ achievement, you and I, and it was just horrible. It was just so bad. And so I think you're right, that's definitely, it's a good bonding experience, and it's fun because you get to see what it's like being on the other side of the test, because we don't get to test each other. So we just kind of get that quick experience for like a couple minutes here and there. Yeah,
and sometimes when you're giving the test, you like wonder how you would do. So it was good to like see beforehand, and also it's like it gives you an understanding of the people who are taking the test, because sometimes when you have the answers in front of you, you could be like, why are they not getting this? Like, I know the answer, but when you take it yourself, you see like the pressure and how challenging it can be.
It's really anxiety inducing, and I think having to take it gives you some great insight, because imagine sitting down with a third grader and they're like, I can't do this, and they're getting so upset, and like the first instinct is like, well, I see the answers, like this is easy, but it's not easy at all. It's definitely challenging for quite a few people. I don't know, sometimes I try to when I'm giving the test, like when they get further on, because I was testing so many adults, like I would try not to look at the answers and do them myself as my volunteers were doing them, and it was just terrible every time because I just never got any of them right. Especially with the numbers. Anything with numbers is not my strong suit.
So now we got through that. Now let's talk about our least favorite moment in the program so far.
Instinctually, I have to say report writing. I know it's such an important part of what we do, but I just can't seem to get it right. I don't know. It's just so difficult getting everything that you need to in there, and in the right way. I don't know. I do enjoy it to a degree just because I like writing, and I like you said, I like to have that background. My background is always the most comprehensive part, which is definitely to a fault because it should be somewhere else, but I love doing that background piece and integrating it, and like
me too.
I think my issue is that I don't write it down, but in my own brain as I'm writing, I'm like, oh my god, like look at these scores, look at the like I try to pull it all together kind of like a puzzle. But writing it and getting it down and reading it over and turning it in, it's got to be the worst part. And we have some scoring homeworks that I'm not a fan of, but
those take a long time.
They take a long time, but at the end of the day, they are important because last semester, I don't know what I gave. Oh, the KTA. I gave that before I did the scoring homework. And it was great because then I was like, oh my god, like now I know how to score this because I did the scoring homework first. So one of those two, probably the scoring homeworks or the reports.
Yeah.
It's not good. Those are some pretty important things that we have to do.
We're growing, though.
We're growing.
It's better than it was at the beginning.
Oh my god, yeah. Yes.
I think my least favorite moments came just from all the stress building up. Because we have a lot of responsibilities that all seem to come crashing all at once, and all at once seems to be like almost throughout the whole semester. So
I think all at once means for 4 months
yeah.
at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have a lot on your plate.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll do it.
We all do, though.
Yeah, it's true.
'Cause most of us, I think all of us have at least some kind of job
All
outside
of us work.
Yeah.
Whether it's a GA or like a lot of us sub.
Mm-hmm.
You and I don't, but
Yeah.
quite a few of our people who commute further, because like maybe half of us live in Oswego, half of us live elsewhere, closer to Syracuse, and they seem to have the chance to sub.
Mm-hmm.
We don't, though.
Yeah.
We also, you and I have GAs, and
Yeah.
you have the fellowship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it
makes
seems
more
like
difficult.
I think 3 of us sub during the year,
Mm-hmm.
and the other 4 of us have GAs. Yeah.
I think one actually now is, I don't know if she's subbing, but I don't know if she's continuing her GA.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think my least favorite moments are just from when it all added up, and I can't like put all that I want into everything that I do all the time, and that becomes frustrating.
I think you need to pat yourself on the back, though.
Thanks. You
Sometimes. Yeah, well, no, because this semester was bad. Marcus crashed down this semester. This past spring, it was really rough at the end. He takes everything pretty... Sorry, I'm putting on blast. Pretty personal, and, like, he puts, like, 110% into everything he does, and it's so hard to watch because I was, like, finished with my assignments, and he was still going, and I was like, oh my god. So...
Thanks,
Yeah.
Sophia.
You-
There was
yeah.
a compliment in there somewhere.
Huh?
There was a compliment in there
Yeah,
somewhere.
no, you work hard,
Mhm.
which is good, but
Thank
you
you.
know, sometimes maybe take a break or two.
I'll try.
Yeah.
You work hard too, though.
Yeah, not that hard.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So anyway. So now I just want to go over what our hopes for the podcast are for the future, because I think both of us want to be able to take this as far as we can, and we'll see where it goes, but hopefully we can do it on a regular basis, which obviously becomes hard, like we just talked about, when
Yeah.
the stress comes crashing down, but maybe it'll be fun to have a podcast episode when we're losing it.
Yeah, I think it'll make it more unhinged.
Yep.
And exciting.
Yeah. So you want to start us off?
Yeah, so I want to say probably the main goal, I don't know if you'd agree, the main goal of this podcast is just to kind of inform people about school psychology as a field, because, you know, based on the title and the content of this podcast, it's definitely geared towards school psychologists or people interested in the field or wanting to know more about it, but also, like, if somebody random was scrolling through Spotify or scrolling through wherever you find your podcasts and you click on it and you listen to it, you might have some interest. And so I think it's important that we do that we kind of spread what school psych is, because like I said, I didn't know what it was until I was looking into, you know, careers. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. I think a lot of people that we talk to just don't understand what school psychology is, like, kind of at a nutshell look at things. They all think, you know, it's social work or a school counselor or things like that. Some people have even equated it to teachers to me. I don't know if that's happened to you, but it's just not that at
A lot
all.
of what I get is they'll say, what's your major? And I'll say school psychology, and they'll say, what job do you want to get with that?
Yeah,
it's like school psychology.
that one's crazy. Yeah, so that's, I think, a big thing that is going to get emphasized here also is that you're pretty much on track to get one job. Which I love that, because this is all I want to do. But I don't want to say there's not much else you can do with a school psychology degree, but at an initial standpoint, like when you're moving into the field, it's pretty much your only career option.
Yeah.
You can branch it though as you do more research and more writing and things like that.
Yeah.
But
like if you get your PhD or something.
Yeah, well, that's that's far away.
Yeah, but I think a big part of the problem is that people don't even know that school psychologists exist. So when you say school psychology, they're like, so what is that? What job does that lead to?
Well, even people from my hometown didn't know that we had one in my district or in my school. I think we have one in each school. We might have more than one in the elementaries because we have a pretty big school district and there's a lot of kids there. But like even my dad, oh my god, my dad will never understand what a school psychologist is. I'm convinced, and he like has no idea that like my mom worked in an elementary school and she worked with ours there, and like I worked the one in my high school. Like some people just don't grasp it. So I think the big selling point of this podcast is just to tell people what it is and like give a little insight on what we do, and almost in a way like recruit people to the field, not necessarily our program, which it would be a plus, of course, if people heard this and were like, oh my god, this program sounds awesome, because it is, and they want to come here, they apply and, you know, show some interest, but just generally letting people know what's going on in the school psych world.
Yeah. And just to branch off what you said about your dad not knowing, when I gave one of the tests to my mom, she was like, I'm so glad you gave that to me, because otherwise I would have no idea what you did for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I mean, assessment is such a huge part that I think that's the only way to, like, for confidentiality's sake, like, tell people what it is. Because when you try to explain it to people without, at least me, like, when I try to do it without giving them test items, like, I don't even know what to say at this point, because it's, like, there's so much. You can't just encapsulate it in one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So another thing that we want to do with the podcast is we're going to have guests on as we go through the weeks, and I'm excited to see what guests we can get. I think we'll be able to have a lot of interesting perspectives on the podcast, like with our professors, or I think soon, hopefully next episode, we'll have a couple of the rising third years on the podcast as our first guests, and I just think that we have a lot to learn ourselves, because we're only going into our second year, so we will be able to learn a lot from the other people that we can have on the podcast. Some of our professors are really experts in the fields, and the fact that we have access to them and hopefully they'll be willing to come on is a really great feeling to have, and they'll be able to share a lot of great insights.
Yeah, our professors are great. They really, like you said, they're experts in the field. And I personally, like, can't imagine learning from a better group of staff. Like, in my past academic endeavors, you know, through undergrad and P through 12, it was just not great all the time. I did have a few outstanding teachers, but these people really care about what they're doing, and I think, to me, that makes a huge difference, because they care, we can learn so much, because they just have so much knowledge. And I think it's good for us to kind of go into the future with that. Yeah.
One of the most important things to me and a professor is that I'm confident that they know what they're talking about. When I ask them questions, they can answer. Because I've had professors in the past where it's like, I don't think they know what they're talking about, and I can ask them a question, and I know that they don't know it, like, based on the answer, I know that they don't know what they're talking about. And that's really unfortunate in a classroom setting where the teacher's supposed to be like kind of like the source of knowledge, which, I mean, that's they can't know everything, but at the same time, they should know what they're teaching. So it's important to me that they have a good base in what they're teaching.
Yeah. I think it's also different at the master's level. I think a lot of, like, my worst professors and teachers, they were at the undergrad level in, like, gen ed classes. Yeah. They just do not care, because they know all those kids are coming through, and they don't care about what they're learning. If it's not useful to them, they're just going to try and breeze through, get a C, and leave. You know, I think at this level, our professors know that we care, and we are, you know, we're paying for this experience and dedicating an enormous amount of time to this this degree and the coursework. And I think that because we are all so passionate about it, they feel comfortable to share all of this knowledge that they've built up over years and years.
True.
I think it's great. So I'm very excited to have some of them on here because we have plenty to learn.
Yeah.
I think another thing that we wanted to do through the podcast is kind of document our learning journey. Going off of that last point, we have a full year under our belts. I think I was telling somebody I took at least 11 classes so far in the last complete year. And it just feels like we've learned so much in that time, but we still have at least another full year of classes and an entire life ahead of us of being in the field and learning. So I would love to see how far we could take this, because we're going to just do so much growing and learning as individuals and as professionals, in definitely the next 3 years and, forever, but we'll see what happens with that forever piece. So I think that's a nice thing that we're going to be doing by keeping this up.
Yeah. And I'm hoping we can have some of the people from our cohort on too, and
I would love that.
Document their journey as well.
They seem a little more reserved on this than we do, just from casual conversation with them, but we're working on it. We're working on it.
And then a final point that we want to highlight with the podcast, which is important, is to highlight diversity, equity, and inclusion issues, especially those that relate to school psychology. So just to give some background on why this podcast started, I am a fellow with the department. The school psychology department here received a grant from the Department of Education in January. It started. It's a 5-year grant, I believe, and as part of that, they hire a number of fellows that have been accepted into the school psychology program. So it's called CRISP, which stands for Cultivating Representation in School Psychology, and it's based on the principle that there should be more representation in the field. So in 2021, the National Association of School Psychologists, or NASP, surveyed the people who are currently practicing in the field, and they found that 87.5% of them identified as female and 86% of them identified as white. So clearly there's a big need for increased representation for the people who are providing mental health support and school psychology services in schools. So this was a huge grant. It was $3.5 million, and as part of the fellowship, the fellows who are, not to get ahead of myself, the fellows who are accepted are people who identify as male or as people of color, to try to really increase the number of people who are underrepresented in the field, and really try to get them into the program and get them to stay in the program. Retention's a big focus of the fellowship, and to get them to actually go through with the career and stay with it for their whole careers. So the fellowship, just briefly, it comes with a full tuition scholarship and a very generous stipend. It's a partnership with the Syracuse City School District, so if you're a fellow, you have dedicated placements in the district. So for the practicums that we talked about, the school psych practicum and the internship, that will be in the Syracuse City School District. And then you commit to working, I believe it's 2 years after your internship in that district. And if that district happens to not be looking for school psychologists, which is unlikely because there's a big shortage all around, you can go to another district that is considered high need, so like a Rochester City School District or another district like that. And then there's mentorship opportunities and all kinds of great things. But obviously a big focus of the fellowship is to highlight these issues that relate to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as part of that, I want to bring that into this podcast a little. And each episode will be talking about something that relates to the field in that area. And so for this episode, obviously this CRISP fellowship was a great opportunity, and I hope to make a real difference in the field in that area. and it was an area of passion for mine before this, and I wanted to work in either Rochester or Syracuse, so it was a great fit for me, and I am really excited about everything that we've been doing to recruit people and to increase retention. We're starting a mentorship program this next year. This podcast is part of the fellowship, so we've got exciting things in the works.
Yeah.
So, to end off the podcast, our first episode,
Very exciting.
we have a little activity. So I have a wheel, because I know you wanted a wheel.
I'm so thrilled about this wheel.
So I'm calling it the Wheel of 5. And the way I'm tying this to school psychology is that we learn 5 assessments in our first semester. So we learn the Woodcock-Johnson.
Really?
We learn the WISC, the WACE, the KABC, and the DOS. So that's 5. So that's how I'm connecting it.
I'll take it.
So I've got a bunch of different topics on the wheel where we're each going to come up with 5 things depending on what the wheel lands on. I'm going to read off the topics quick to increase the suspense. So 5 things we've learned about each other, because we talked about how close we get as a cohort, so we'd see how that goes. 5 things we learned about school psychology, 5 coping mechanisms that we use to deal with stress, 5 things that we're passionate about, 5 things about living in Oswego, whether positive or negative, 5 guests that we hope to have on the show, and then my last one is 1 movie, 1 TV show, 1 song, 1 piece of artwork, and 1 podcast that are meaningful and important to us in some way. So we got them all on the wheel. Do you have one that you're hoping for, Sophia?
I think having 1, movie, TV show, song, things like that. I think that's a good, because this is an intro episode, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Now let me clarify, because I'm a little confused, and I think it might be confusing.
Okay.
Do we each come up with 5 things?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not 5 combined.
No, we each come up with 5.
Okay.
I think I'm hoping for 5 things that we've learned about each other.
I'm not hoping for that one.
All right, let's
All
see.
right. Can you guys hear that? Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
All right.
Yay.
We got the computer's very excited about this. We've got 1 movie, 1 TV show, 1 song, 1 piece of artwork, and 1 podcast that are meaningful and important to us in some way. So let's do this topic by topic here.
Okay.
So 1 movie. Do you want to start us off?
Yeah. Oh man, I am not. I'm not a good movie watcher per se. I tend to watch the same few movies on rotation. Recently, what's been very important to me movie-wise is Despicable Me.
Good one.
I watched it like 2 days ago. And I love it. But like an all-time favorite of mine is like probably any movie from the Twilight series. If I had to pick one, Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you?
I just bought the whole series on DVD.
Did you really?
from
Marcus,
Morgan.
I have 2 box sets. I have a limited edition. This is crazy. I found this in an FYE for like $5. I don't know if you know what an FYE is.
No.
It's for-year entertainment. It's like a mall store.
Oh, okay.
So it just has like novelty stuff like socks and movies and whatever. And I found a used copy of Breaking Dawn. I think it was Part 1 where they get married, maybe Part 2. I'm a terrible rememberer also. Gotta work on those memory skills. But
The only time I watched them was I binged them all years and years ago, all at once.
they're great. For the time that I had that semester off and that spring, I watched them like every day. And I would like eat IHOP in front of my, like get it to go and eat it in front of the TV. It's my favorite experience. But so in the movie, they get married, and it was like a clipping of the flowers from the movie, and they were set in resin. And so now I own that. So
cool.
If anyone wants to buy that off of me, try again next time.
You know what's crazy? I realized I didn't put a book on here.
Well, that's
Should
okay.
we replace artwork with book?
Yes.
Okay. We'll
Yes.
replace piece of artwork with book.
Sorry, guys.
All right. 1 movie that's important to me. Let's see. My favorite movie of all time is Whiplash.
Oh, I watched that last week for the first
You did?
time.
Right.
Yes, it was great. It was a great movie. I love
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons
Me
personally,
too.
and Miles Teller, so it makes it much better.
I used to play the drums in high school, and I did like competitions and stuff for it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, almost went to college for it. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a great movie.
That's a great movie.
Yeah. Another movie that my second favorite movie is Get Out, which I'm always like, whenever I watch that, I'm like, why isn't this my favorite movie? But then I watch Whiplash and I'm like, it's too good.
I've never seen Get Out, which is like a,
Oh my
a
God.
personality
We gotta
flaw.
watch it together.
I know. Everybody I've ever told that to was like, "Oh my God, we have to watch it." But like I said, I have a very limited taste in movies. I tried to watch. Oh man, I love Keanu Reeves, and I tried to watch John Wick 2 days ago. That's how we ended up on Despicable Me. I was watching it with my boyfriend, and this is, I guess, a spoiler. Should I keep the spoilers out?
Probably.
All right. Well, in the first 20 minutes, like literally in the first 20 minutes, something not even significant, I assume, to the storyline, because there was like 4 movies, but something happened and I like had to shut it off. I like stopped the whole movie and my boyfriend was like, "Why are we not watching this? Like, can we please just continue? Like, do you need a break?" And I was like, "No." So I don't watch new movies. I don't know if I can handle Get Out, because anything like remotely scary is not for me. And John Wick's not scary. It's just action. And I've watched plenty of action movies. Like Marvel, the MCU is in my top like 20 movies or whatever, because there's so many. But
Is that all your top 20 movies?
yeah, all of them are in there. I will also, during that semester off, I called it my post-grad project, and I didn't finish it until like the week before I came back up.
Wow.
Was to watch them all in chronological order. I had seen almost all of them, on their own, but they're great. I should have put those in my movie. Awesome. Whiplash is a great one. It's a good choice.
It is. All right, and we'll watch Get Out together. We'll update you guys on that.
Yeah.
All right, one TV show. I can go first for this one.
Yeah, you go first.
Let's see. No, I can't come up with one. I think Boy Meets World. It's a big.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I watched that when I was a kid, and it's like one of my favorite shows of all time. And it's just very, like, it's funny, but it's also has a lot of like deep, meaningful stuff to it.
It's so sweet.
I love it.
It's a great show. I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind is New Girl, because I've just watched it so many times at this point. And it's just something I can always put on. Like, I also love like crime shows like Criminal Minds and NCIS, things like that, but I can't always watch those. So New Girl is what comes first, but as a kid I used to watch Teen Titans and Kim Possible, and those two are like gotta be tied for first.
Yeah.
Like, I still use a DVD player. I know it's outdated, but those are like my most watched things on the DVD, because I just can't get enough. So I'm gonna have to tie it.
Yeah. I'm always on Disney Plus. Those old shows.
Yeah, I really don't like Disney Plus. I do not like don't look at me like that. I don't like the formatting of it. It like just bothers me for some unknown reason. And if I have it all that I want to watch on DVD, why am I going on Disney Plus?
True. Yeah.
We're getting rid of it anyway. It's my dad's.
All right. One song. I have so many songs that are meaningful to me.
I love
so hard
songs. I love music.
Yeah, me too.
I'm listening to a lot of Slipknot, but I feel like that's not appropriate.
That's what's meaningful and important to you.
I don't know about meaningful, but definitely important in a way.
I'm gonna start this one.
Yeah.
Because I know you like this song too. Supercut by Lord.
Oh man. Oh,
amazing song.
That is such a good one, especially for this time of year. Windows down.
Yeah.
Going down the 104.
Yeah. And it means a lot to me and Morgan. Morgan's my girlfriend.
Shout out Morgan.
Yeah.
I love her.
Good old Morgan. We should have her on the podcast.
Yeah, well, she doesn't know anything about school
psych.
So.
Well, she took a test, so
she did take a test. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it means a lot to us. That was like the first. We recommend a lot of music to each other, and back last semester, that was the first thing I recommended to her, was Melodrama.
It's such a good album. Lord is just like a musical master, truly. Oh wow, that's a good one.
You gotta beat it now. You gotta top it.
I listen to a lot of music, so this is a hard one, and I listen to so many different genres. And my boyfriend Mio and I, we also do a lot of music recommending, and it's like half of my library is just things that he's sent me.
Yeah.
But I think This is just such a bizarre choice of everything I listen to, but Taylor Swift, All Too Well, 10-minute version.
Yes. I love it.
It's just so good, and it, like, you know, it speaks to everyone, of course, but it speaks to me on, like, such a personal level, and that music video, oh my god, ruined my life. I laid in bed and cried. Yeah, I love Sadie Sink. Oh, TV show, I should have put Stranger Things. That changes my life. Oh, man. Yeah, 10-minute version of All Too Well. That's
it's great.
One. Supercut was great. I can't believe you just came up with that. That is an awesome song.
Alright, book.
Alright, I'll go first.
Okay.
I don't mind. Okay. It's like a YA book. It's nothing super intellectual, but I've read it, like, oh my god, probably 10 times at this point. It's called This Is Where It Ends, and I'm gonna butcher her name. I'm gonna try it. I'm so sorry if you guys are listening to this, like, or anyone is listening to this and you know how to say it. Marieke Nijkamp, maybe? I don't know.
Good guess.
I could spell it, but that feels unnecessary. But it's just one of the best books ever. It's about it's got a couple different POVs, and it's about so morbid. It's about a school shooter, but it's a phenomenal book. Or she wrote it in, like, the most interesting way you possibly could for something so horrible and morbid. I don't know. I would definitely recommend it, and it means a lot to me. It's a huge... I read it, like, 8 times during COVID. Like, I was on lockdown, and I just read it over and over again. It's like 200 pages. It's a great read if anyone has time.
Sounds like a good one.
It's great.
I like books like that where it, like, changes the POV and, like, gets into the minds of all the different characters. Okay, my book, probably The Hate You Give. Have you read that?
I have not.
It's by Angie Thomas. It's about police brutality and race, and it has so many different themes to it. It's just really about race in America, and it's about a girl who's... This is the plots of the book, so it's kind of a spoiler, but not really. It's right in the beginning. The girl's friend gets killed by the police at a traffic stop, and it's about her experience after that. And it's also about... It has so many different themes related to race. Like, she goes to her parents take her to kind of a private school that's mostly white to get her out of the local high school. And it's about how she has to kind of code switch between her life in her neighborhood and her life at the school. And it's just... There's so many great things about it. Love the book. There's also a movie. Love the movie. It's a masterpiece.
I have never read it, but I know people who have read it and really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a shot.
You should. You can borrow it after Morgan's done.
Yeah, well, I still haven't made it through...
Hunger Games.
Yeah, Hunger Games. What is it? Ballad of
Songbirds and Snakes.
Yeah, it's still sitting in my basket with the rest of my books.
Yeah, get to that one first.
I'm trying to read Perks of Being a Wallflower for the last, like, 5 years.
Yeah.
It's like 100 pages, and I still haven't gotten through it.
All right, one podcast.
I'm not really a podcast person. I sometimes used to listen to ologies. I don't know who it's by, but it's just about, like, the ology of, like, the biology... Not biology. I don't know how to explain it, but, like... the background and the makeup of different things, but honestly it's so niche. But the School Psych podcast is a really good one. It's probably the only one I've listened to, like, more than one episode.
Yeah,
they're just great.
It's a good shout out to give.
Yeah. Shout out to the School Psych podcast.
I have this one podcast. I don't know how I feel about it anymore, but it's called Revisionist History. It's a Malcolm Gladwell podcast. You know Malcolm Gladwell?
I do not.
He's a kind of a popular psychology guy. So he wrote books like Outliers and what was other books called? Blink, I think, was one of his books. He has tons of books, but they're all very interesting. But he has some criticism out there about how he interprets data and stuff. But the podcast is very interesting. Like he has one about memory and like confabulation and stuff like that. And the focus on the podcast, that episode, was Brian Williams, who was a newscaster. He was doing some kind of news story for the war in Afghanistan, I think. That might be off base, might have been Iraq. But he was in a helicopter, and one of the other helicopters was under enemy fire. And Brian Williams kept telling the story like throughout the years, and as the years went on, he kept changing it a little bit, and by the end, it was like he was in a helicopter that got shot by enemy fire, and he got in huge trouble for that, and he got fired and all that. But Malcolm Gladwell talks about in the podcast how that's kind of how memory works, and you keep telling the story, and you kind of forget details and just how your brain works. So his theory in the podcast is that Brian Williams didn't even know he was lying. It's just over time he told the story so many times, and he got it confused, and his memory just didn't work. Well, it works as well as anyone's memory works, but
wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of interesting stuff in that episode.
Very cool.
But he does a lot of it's at least very compelling topics. I don't know if I agree with everything he says, but it's a very compelling podcast. Yeah. So yeah, that was a great first episode, I think.
Yeah.
And I think we should at least do one guest that we hope to have on the podcast in the future.
Okay. I think my first guest would be Dr. Spenceley. I work for Dr. Spenceley under my GA. She is our dean in the School of Education, and she was a school psychologist first, actually. And I've asked her questions about stuff just like being in the office. She's just so intelligent. She's so much to say. I would love to see any sort of input that she's got.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, obviously, we'll have some of the rising third years, and Dr. Story hopefully will come on soon, who's our main professor, at least throughout these last 2 semesters. But thinking outside of that, we had Dr. Garudo. This is our first class with him, and he's just he seems like such an expert in the field.
Amazing.
And like he showed us something from the National Association of School Psychologists last night, and he was an author for their press release.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And he's involved with so much. He does so many important things, and I just think he's like a wealth of knowledge about the field.
Yeah. He's awesome, and he's very down to earth.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of that. And he works locally also. He works in our local school district, which I think is a huge plus.
Yeah, it's crazy that he does all that, and he's still working in the schools.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. I would love to have him also. That's a great pick.
Yeah. So next episode, hopefully, I think we'll have,
fingers crossed,
we'll have Jared and Nate on, who are the other fellows, the other current fellows, and we are going to talk about what we wish we had known going into our first year of grad school.
That's a good one.
And I think we'll all have good, unique perspectives on that one. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that you will come back next episode we'll have those guests on, and it'll be really fun. So stay tuned.
Yeah, thanks everybody for listening.
See ya.
Bye.